Everybody, today we've got a Craftsman Rototiller with a 5.5 horse Briggs & Stratton engine on it. Will not start. I'm pretty sure it's fuel related. I have looked it over a little bit. It does pull over pretty nicely. It's got good compression. However, looking down in the fuel tank, you can see some water bubbles down in there. And there's definitely some dirt. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up. The one concern is I can see back there, and I don't know if you can because of glare, but it looks like the fuel pickup tube's got a crack in it. Pretty common on these. There's ways to fix that. You can get a replacement tube, or you can make your own. The only thing is making your own, you lose the ability to filter the fuel at that end. Check our oil. It's low, but it does have some. I also noticed here there's some mouse house sticking out, so we need to get this off and clean that out. That's something to be careful with engines that's been sitting, because that stuff can cause your engine to overheat. The whole purpose of this shroud is there's the flywheel in here has air veins on it. It pulls air in through here and blows it up over the engine and out. When all that builds up in here, it can't blow air, and then the engine overheats. Hopefully that's not already caused problems with the engine, but I think we can see how it runs here in just. Okay, I got a can of starting fluid here. I already loosened the screws up. Filter's a little dirty. This will tell us if this thing has spark and if the engine sounds good. That's a good engine. So I'm going to go ahead and get working on taking this carburetor and fuel tank off. We'll get it, start cleaning up. And okay, we got our 4 5/16 bolts out. Got the lower half of the air cleaner off. We got all of our throttle linkages and our choke and everything here. So our governor spring. Okay, we'll get this all off here. There's a screw here, and there's a screw down in there. Probably have to take this off first. It looks like it's got 2 Phillips heads that hold it on. Get this out of our way so we can access this bolt back here. Okay, I stand corrected. These were not Phillips heads. These were a T15 Torx bit. And I also decided to take the muffler off too to get better access to this bolt. And that was 7/16. I believe these are 3/8. Let's see. Yeah, they're 3/8. Alright, we got the carburetor off of it. There's a a 3/8 bolt that goes there, and then 2 that holds the carburetor up, and then you have to pull this linkage off. You can see there's more mouse house poking out on this side, so we need to take this cover off and clean all that out of there. These are all 3/8 bolts. Get an extension for this one. Probably gonna go everywhere. Let me get all this scooted out of the way. Oh yeah. Packed plumb full. Alright. Let me get some gloves and a trash can over here. I'll dig this out. Alright. Yeah, this would have caused this to overheat real quick. I'm hoping that it wasn't ran with this stuff in it. Because this could have burned the engine up. Okay, we're back over here at the workbench. I'm going to take the carburetor here off of our fuel tank. Set that over to the side. So, I'll get that screw out there. I'll just go ahead. Head. I'll pry on it a little. Oh, I bet you this screw goes all the way through. This carburetor's a little bit different than the older Briggs engines I'm used to. Yeah, that's what was holding us. That's why it's good to look and check before you get to prying and beating and everything. Take this linkage here loose. Just let that hang. Look at the mud on the end of that. A lot of dirt in the screen there. That don't look too bad. This is where your diaphragm for your fuel pump is. We need to take this off. Okay, we got this part. It looks pretty clean on this side of things. On the cover, there's a lot of corrosion and stuff in there, but the diaphragm is completely shot. This is no good no more. I've got some. I mean, you can just hear how crispy this is. I'll get a new one real quick. This is a brand new diaphragm, and it's very pliable feeling. Very loose, very kind of flappy. And this one here is not. It's crispy to a point. So this is definitely shot. Another thing to notice is the spring height. This is the spring I took out of it. If my camera will focus, maybe. As you can see how short and smashed down that is from years of use, and how tall this one is. There's a big difference here. Looking down in the fuel bowl here now, this is just mud. That's what. Okay, we're going to put our carburetor in. Try to get it, yeah, all the way down. And then we're going to add this in there. Okay, I've cleaned this pan out for the most part. There's a little bit in it, but we're going to see what's inside this fuel tank. Some of that. Okay, we definitely got some water, some rust. A lot of mud down inside there. Stuff down in there. That's gross. Yeah, so we've got to clean out this tank real well. I've got some rust remover. I think I'm going to fill this little bowl up with it. That seems to be all that's really affected by it. It's that bowl. So we'll fill this up and let that sit for a while. Okay, we're going to drain the oil on this. Kick that up to help level it. I've got the one size fits all wrench. Hopefully I can get this out with that. Maybe not. It's in there pretty good. There it went. There is a little bit of fuel left in this from draining the fuel tank. I really want to see what this oil is coming out of here. Definitely not been changed in a while. Okay, I put some rust remover in there and kind of scraped at it with a screwdriver. That's looking a whole lot better. You can still see some rust in there, but it's definitely a whole lot better than it was. I rinsed out the fuel tank with water. This is going to have to dry real well. I might take some rubbing alcohol and pour in here, shake it up to mix with that water, and then dump it out. I think why this was either full of water is it either went down the carburetor and ended up in here, or this gasket was leaking, and as it rained and stuff, water made its way into here around this gasket. But we're going to put a new gasket on here. I wasn't able to save it, so we have a whole new kit for it. I just ordered that pickup tube. There's our kit. I'd already purchased this for it ahead of time. If I didn't need it, I'd have it. It's a common carburetor. But we've got new gaskets here, and hopefully we can save this carburetor and tank. I think we should be able to if we can get all the ports cleaned out. Alright, our oil's done draining. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the drain plug and fill this back up with oil. Yep, that's it. The oil should be up to at least the threads, like that. And this is not near that much oil, I don't believe. Put our fill cap in. I'm actually thinking tomorrow, instead of blowing this out, I'm just going to spray this thing down with degreaser. We've got like some sort of algae and stuff growing on here, and I'm just going to pressure wash it, or at least spray it off with the hose. Alright, it's the next day. I'm getting ready to soak this thing down in some degreaser and hit it with the pressure washer, get all that mouse nest and stuff out of it that's left on there. There's some grease and some dirt and everything, and we'll get this thing cleaned up. Just got my weed sprayer here with some degreaser mixed with water. Get this thing soaked up real good. Got some latex gloves shoved in the ports. We're just not going to spray those directly. Get soaked up. It ought to be good. Alright, we're back down in the basement from washing it. I let it sit out in the sun for an hour or so and dried off. I did notice after we got all the debris and everything clean that the mice have been having their way with these wires. So we're going to have to put some heat shrink over these wires. That way we don't have any shorts or anything and the engine just randomly dies or won't start. So we'll get this off here. See if we can't work this off. There we go. You can really see them. They've been chewing on that like crazy. They started on the coil right here, but it doesn't look like they ate through anywhere, so this is still okay. Okay, we're over here at the bench, and I did take the carburetor out and finish cleaning it up. It's okay. It's a little rust stained here, but all the passages and everything are free. This came out halfway decent. Might do a little more scraping and stuff on it. That's just the casting here. That's out. That's not corrosion or anything. This came out okay. Much better than expected. So on this here, I'm just going to undo it on this end. Let's see here. Give me a longer piece. See if I can't fish this with a lighter. This is the good kind that has the glue inside of it too. You can use a heat gun for this, and honestly it's probably the better way to do it. If you get too much heat in one place, you can burn the heat shrink with a lighter. There. That should work pretty good. Okay, I put our wire back on here. We can just hook this back up. All these do to release is there's a little tab and it just locks in here. Okay, this breather hose here was all cracked up and split. You can see it here. I put a piece of heat shrink around it to help hold it together a little bit. You can get a new one of these, but to save down on some money, I'm not going to replace this. It's still intact for the most part. It was just cracked all the way around. 3 cracks down it. I put a piece of heat shrink on it. This won't cause it to run bad or anything, but what it will do is oil vapor will escape here and then make the backside of this greasy. So since this isn't really critical for it to run properly, I figured I'd do this. We'll get, you know, maybe another year or two out of this piece before it just degrades to the point that it is no longer usable, and we'll replace it with a new one. Alright, our fuel tube just come in. I got it in the mail today. I got it on. This is the one we took off that was broke, all cracked up. To get these on here, you have to warm the end up here to get them to slide up onto the tube. I just took a lighter and just a couple seconds was all it needed to slide on. Got that one on there. We're going to put our new diaphragm in. Put your spring in. And this is important. This little ring goes on the outside towards the diaphragm. Helps protect it. And then we've got our new diaphragm gasket here. There's a little alignment pin back here. That on. And we've got our top plate. Okay, now we can install our carburetor back onto the fuel tank. I did clean this out a little bit in here to get all that rust and stuff we had out. It doesn't look too terrible now. Well, we've got our new base gasket. Make sure that all lines up the way it should. Reinstall our carburetor. That's the biggest challenge. Just trying to get all this stuff lined up. There we go. Okay. Actually, I believe this bracket goes there for the breather tube. So that would sit on there, and then have this. Okay, hang on. I'm going to put you down while I get these screws started. Okay, we're back over here at the machine. We put these 3 bolts in. This one stays out. This bracket here that holds your choke and throttle, it bolts down where this bolt is. These 2 holes here where this bolts down. I went ahead and installed this linkage back on here. And here's our governor spring. And we've got a new base gasket that goes right here. We're going to go ahead and set this up here. Okay, on hooking your governor spring back up, this tab sticking out here, this just slips around this tab. We've got this little plastic linkage that's still got to go on right here. We've got to get it hooked up. Okay, I went ahead and installed this linkage here and bolted this on. This linkage here comes here down to the end of your governor. You got your spring on there.
And then you've got this linkage here. Accidentally knocked this cable off here when I was doing it, but now we just need to bolt everything up. Oh. Yeah, I've got everything bolted back on, and I just realized that I forgot to hook this linkage here back up. So I've got to take this black plastic piece off and get this linkage here reinstalled onto it. Okay, it took me a minute to figure out this linkage. I had it backwards. The long end coming off of this, these arms face towards the carburetor. The long arm goes over here to the throttle on the carburetor, and the short arm faces towards the fuel tank that goes down to the governor. So that's all bolted on, everything's hooked up now. We'll go ahead and get our recoil assembly on. Okay. Okay, we'll get our air cleaner on. Okay, we got a brand new air filter. Tighten these up. There it goes. Okay, reinstalling our muffler. I applied anti-seize to these bolts. That one's not even tightening in. going now. These have locking tabs. Need to be bent back down on the bolts. Get these with the screwdriver, possibly. Okay, there's one. And there's two. We just need to add fuel. I rinsed this tank out pretty good. A little under halfway. Take it outside and try to start it. Alright, getting ready to load this up in the truck, take it to the customer. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.